there was some weird stuff that happened. I mean, like, I had my first child and there was a mother that was jealous.
Come here, Logan. Cat back home. Come here.
It was Christine who got jealous when Logan was born.
Logan was absolutely lovely. What I was going through was the first year of being in plural marriage. It was so hard. I felt like I lost my identity completely.
Kody's wild claim about Christine and Logan. Seriously, what exclamation okay? This one's a real stretch, even for Kody. He's now trying to spin some bizarre tale that Christine was jealous when Logan was born. Yes, the same Christine he once claimed helped calm the family dynamics when she joined, and the same Logan he said brought the 4 wives closer together. So, which is it, Kody? Did Christine unite the family or secretly hate babies? Sure, things weren't perfect, they're human, but this is a brand new flavor of delusion. Let's be real. This sudden recollection probably has more to do with Kody being salty about sitting in the second row on the bride's side at Logan's wedding than any real memory of Christine's feelings 3 decades ago. It feels like a weak attempt to paint her as unstable or bitter in front of the rest of the family. And while we're here, if he never loved her, why is he still so obsessed? He says he didn't visit, didn't want to continue the physical relationship, and claims it was never about love. So why, 3 years post-breakup, is he still going on and on about her? He doesn't rant like this about the other 2 ex-wives. Christine's the one who really gets under his skin. Why? Because she left. Because she's happy. Because she's moved on with a loving, successful partner while he's clinging to the last remnants of control in his crumbling McMansion kingdom. And honestly, he can't stand that the world outside his little echo chamber likes her, that people respect her, that Janelle loves her. He wants to destroy that bond between them so badly because it threatens the narrative he's built around himself, the all-knowing, all-righteous patriarch who holds the family together. Spoiler, he doesn't. This Logan story is just another example of how he twists things to fit whatever agenda he's pushing. Christine wasn't jealous of a baby. She was overwhelmed, struggling, and human. But in Kody's version of reality, empathy doesn't exist unless it makes him look good. And let's not forget, the man has the dubious honor of being the one who drove a woman raised as literal polygamist royalty to abandon the faith entirely and choose monogamy with someone else. That's not just a breakup. That's a full-on legacy stain. At this point, Kody's not the polygamist patriarch. He's the polygamist skid mark. We've got so much to dive into today, so let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into it. Hey everyone, what's up? It's Elena here, and welcome back to my channel Reality Nexus X. For the first time, Kody actually pointed a finger at Elena and Robyn for why he didn't go to Janelle's house. Sure, his tone wasn't exactly explosive, but the message was loud enough. The blame game is officially on, and who knows where it'll go next. Oh, and let's not forget, he also managed to throw his 7-year-old daughter under the bus, while simultaneously tossing himself and Robyn under there too. Impressive form. Let's talk about Robyn for a second. Loyalty, not exactly her strong suit. She's mastered the art of blame deflection, sometimes shielding Kody from criticism, other times handing him the full platter of accountability, like she's serving a roast. Still, Kody always scrambles to protect her, the ever-dutiful husband to his favorite wife. But what really baffles me is this. How does a father not feel the urge to see and connect with all his children? As a mother, that's incomprehensible to me. When Isabel had her surgery, nothing, and I mean nothing, could have kept me away. Meanwhile, Kody's over here acting like the king of Siam, expecting his wives and kids to grovel at his feet. And when they don't, he cuts them off like a moody monarch withholding affection until they submit. The kicker? No one seems all that bothered. Their lives go on just fine without him. That's the core of it, isn't it? Kody was so sure he was the center of everyone's universe that he could do whatever he pleased and the whole family would still orbit around him like obedient baby ducks. Turns out, when you're not a consistent presence in someone's life, They stop expecting you to show up. Harsh truth, but there it is. Now, maybe I'm giving him too much credit, but something in his recent behavior seemed real. Not bitter, not angry, just exposed. Like the facade is cracking, and we're finally seeing a glimpse of how he truly feels. If only he'd take that energy and use it to, I don't know, be a father. Most of his kids are adults now, sure, but that doesn't mean they don't still need him in their lives. But no, in true narcissist fashion, he's already shifted the blame to someone else. A 7-year-old, no less. Classic Kody. You can almost hear him telling that story like it was some sweet, heartwarming moment that showed off his daughter's loyalty. Meanwhile, the audience is watching in horror, and Robyn's probably fuming over how badly the edit shattered her carefully curated perfect wife and mother image. Let's not forget the tragedy that should have shaken him to his core. His son died by suicide 6 months ago. The worst possible thing a parent could experience. And yet, no visible change. No reaching out. No apologies. No, I love you-s to the rest of his children. No checking in to see who else might be struggling with depression, or encouraging anyone to get help. Substance abuse, mental health, these are real concerns, especially in a family this big in this country. But no, Kody's too busy wallowing in self-pity to do the hard work of showing up for the kids he still has. At the end of the day, Kody will blame anyone but himself for the fallout of his actions. And Irila, she's just a little girl. Of course she wants her dad around. So did every one of his other 17 children at some point. The difference, most of them eventually stopped asking. Why did Kody marry Christine? The eternal mystery. Let's be honest, Kody never really liked Christine, let alone loved her. That much is painfully obvious. So the big question is, why on earth did he marry her in the first place? From what they've admitted, there was barely any courtship. Like, at all. So how were they supposed to know if they were remotely compatible? Spoiler alert, they weren't. And everything about Christine seemed to annoy Kody to the moon and back. Her personality, her expectations, her very existence, really. But here's the kicker. Christine is basically polygamy royalty. Her bloodline is the stuff of plural marriage legend. And Kody, well, he's a narcissist who saw that royal pedigree as a golden ticket. Marrying Christine made him look like a big deal in the community, like he was marrying up. In reality, he was just a big something else. At the same time, it seems like he resented her for that exact status. He couldn't coast with Christine the way he could with the others. He had to try with her, because her name actually carried weight. Mary's mom adored him, and Janelle's mom literally married his dad. But Christine, she came with expectations, she had influence. Which brings us to his infamous knife in the kidney's meltdown. That whole tirade. It was him unraveling under the weight of all the effort he resented putting into a relationship he never truly valued, screaming about the time he wasted trying to love her. Charming, right? According to him, he married Christine to balance things out between Mary and Janelle, because apparently Mary was on the warpath and Christine's entrance cooled things down, or at least slapped a temporary band-aid on the drama. In reality, Christine was his escape hatch from the toxic love triangle he built with Mary and Janelle. She was willing, she came with pedigree, and she offered a fresh dynamic, convenient. Now he rewrites history, claiming he never loved her, probably to save face after she had the nerve to walk away. But let's be real, he did love her, or at least he tried to, in his own self-absorbed, chaotic way. Robyn's back at it with her latest complaint about Kody's unequal time distribution with the kids. Let's break this down, shall we? In the last episode, Robyn said her kids were complaining all the time about Kody spending all his time with the older kids. So, what exactly does she mean by this? Were her kids upset that he wasn't around during monumental events like weddings or something? But let's be real. Once the kids hit adulthood and were off doing their own thing with school and work, Kody practically vanished from their lives. So, what is Robyn even referencing? Was she talking about those rare moments when the kids gathered for something like a wedding, and he chose to ignore them to give attention to, well, his other kids? Or is she just pulling the poor me card for some extra camera time? Oh, who are we kidding? She's definitely making it up. Even Antoinette, the anthropology student who stayed with them in Vegas, picked up on Kody's blatant favoritism. She noticed Kody spent way more one-on-one time with Saul than any of the older kids. Robyn didn't even try to deny it. Nope, she just made excuses for it. So much for the equal love for all kids narrative, right? And let's not forget Kody himself, who admitted that when Logan was heading off to college, Logan had been distancing himself from him. Christine even mentioned that Aspin would casually comment on how she didn't see her dad for days at a time. You think Hunter and Maddie were thrilled about Robyn? Not exactly. So yeah, Robyn's story about the kids constantly complaining just doesn't add up. But Kody's real gem of wisdom. Teenagers don't need a father, he said. What a ringing endorsement of parenting. So clearly, he wasn't spending any time with the older kids. I'm with you. Robyn's making all this up to look like the victim. It's all a performance for the cameras. Remember when Kody said he'd spend days at his office in Robyn's house? Yeah, he saw Robyn's kids every day, but when it came to his older kids, maybe 5 minutes with them before bed. That's not quality time, that's just an afterthought. Kody was not spending time with the OG 13, and Robyn's just lying about it to paint a different picture. Now, don't get me wrong, Kody probably spent more time with his sons during wrestling season. I mean, that's a pretty big deal, right? But that was 1 month of his life. Meanwhile, Robyn's kids were used to soaking up most of his attention, and suddenly they were missing out. It's not hard to see why Kody's got a habit of giving Robyn and her kids priority. But let's be real, he doesn't seem all that interested in her kids either. Robyn just demands the attention. And here's the kicker. Robyn clearly thought she was entitled to more of Kody's time just because she married a guy with 3 wives and 13 kids. Like, why did she think she was any more special than the others? Maybe, just maybe, if she married a man who actually cared about balancing time with all of his wives and kids, she wouldn't feel so left out. But Kody, well, he's too much of a softie to stand up to Robyn's demands. It's almost like she thought monogamy would have solved her problems, but that's a whole different issue altogether. I decided to start Sister Wives from the beginning, and let's just say, I've missed about 3 or 4 seasons. I was living abroad since 2012, so yeah, I had a good reason. Anyway, by the end of season 8, whenever they threw that awkward commitment party, it was painfully obvious who Kody Brown really is. Mary's talking about going back to school, and Robyn's whining that she can't have another baby without more help, and Kody, he suddenly goes full Jekyll and Hyde. It's like a switch flipped. The guy who used to act all humble and goofy, like, gee golly, I'm just a big all-lovable Gomer Pyle now, he's putting on the mask of a wannabe patriarch. And it's so obvious when Christine stands up and demands that Ken Griffin apologize for texting Kody that he could come back to the church if he divorced 3 of his wives. Christine finally gets fed up, and what does she do? She backs down and admits she's hormonal. Really? Is she brainwashed, or is she just terrified of him? Then there's Kody's attempts to bully his kids. Remember the whole Rock or Hawaii thing with Garrison? And don't even get me started on his hypocrisy. He tosses Christine's aunt out for making a comment, but he keeps Ken as a friend even after his shady behavior. And the cherry on top, he starts bullying Robyn too. In one debate, she feigns outrage and drops the sweetie line. Real classy, Mary? She's given Kody and Robyn everything. And what does Robyn do? She tells Mary she wants her to be there for the non-wedding wedding. Really, Robyn? After everything? Meanwhile, Kody and Robyn are throwing adoption parties, baby showers, and whatever else, while Mary sits there, looking like she's been shattered into a million pieces. I'm only on season 10, Janelle and Mary decorating for Thanksgiving. Priceless, by the way. But at this point, Kody's already so desperate to be a big shot. The PhD student nailed it. Kody's a showboat, but honestly, he's a dangerous one. I'm all in on that theory. We just started the latest season, and boom, immediate change in Kody and Robyn, honestly. The conversation between Mary and Kody about fixing up the Lahey house. What a train wreck. Mary's trying to get Kody's opinion on how to sell the place, and he just rips into her for absolutely no reason. He's like, "You're doing everything wrong. I'll have to fix it all myself," and none of it even made sense. Dude, you don't just throw contractors into your space and ask them to tell you what they want to do. You come up with a plan first, then get their input. But Kody, he doesn't care about logic. He's too busy being a jerk. And Robyn, don't even get me started. She's flipping out about Mary taking some classes at MSc. Apparently, Mary wanting to improve herself is a personal attack on Robyn. Robyn, who clearly has a lot of time to complain about her non-existent business, especially when you consider her half-baked presentation for money. She's unprepared, disorganized, and just babbles her way through it. But the real kicker came during the one-on-one interviews in the latest episode. When they aired that clip of Kody and Janelle fighting, the wives' faces said it all. They looked like they'd seen a ghost. Kody was nasty, aggressive, dismissive, and completely disrespectful. You could practically feel the years of built-up resentment. They've lived with this angry, toxic version of Kody for so long that it's like they've just accepted it. I don't think it's a coincidence that Kody started turning into this authoritarian, misogynistic figure after both his brother and father died back-to-back in 2013. Sure, it's not an excuse, but it makes you wonder if that's when he finally snapped. Because, let's face it, at some point, he went from being the fun, metrosexual guy who liked wearing pink to a very different, hypermasculine version of himself. And that flip-flop, it wasn't just a phase. Isn't it funny how the people who are supposed to protect us, like these wives, are the ones who end up turning on us in the most vicious ways? Kody's been tearing them down all along, and yet they've been the ones to support him most. The irony's just too much. I'll be honest, it's hard to watch. Kody's stance on romance with Janelle has been crystal clear. He's not into her that way. They mention some romance renaissance in Vegas, which, let's be real, is probably the only time they've had halfway decent sex. And when Janelle claims they've never had issues in that department, I'm pretty sure she's referring to that Vegas trip and the fact that her standards in that area are, well, pretty low. Now, I'm not throwing shade at Janelle's body. Trust me, I'm no size 2 myself. I can't stand the way people talk about Robyn's body either. It's frustrating because a lot of us look like Robyn, and when people tear her apart, it feels like they're lumping all of us in. I'm not a fan of the woman, but come on, people, have a little tact. Okay, back on track. Kody has repeatedly stated in interviews that he's not romantic with Janelle. They bonded over finances and logistics, not passion. This wasn't some torrid, sexy love affair throughout the show. He's made it abundantly clear that he doesn't feel that way about her. Maybe Janelle thinks functional, no-frills sex equals a healthy sex life, but I'm calling BS on that one. You can tell when someone's genuinely attracted to someone else, and Janelle's feelings for Kody are pretty obvious. Kody, not so much. He's always talking about how she thinks he's hot, but he never returns the compliment. That's a one-way street, folks. Let's be clear, her weight had nothing to do with it. Kody said before that he likes curvy women, and Robyn isn't exactly the skinny mini she used to be. So no, it's not about body size. It's clear Kody still has some kind of feelings for Janelle. After all, he wanted to kiss her on one of their last dates. And hey, they had 6 kids, so there must have been a time when they were having some kind of active sex life. But honestly, I think Kody would have been perfectly fine keeping Janelle as the other woman while keeping Robyn as his legal wife. He didn't seem to have the same kind of affection for Mary or Christine. I honestly don't get why these women stayed with him as long as they did. At least Mary, Janelle, and Christine's kids, except for Truly, are all grown, so leaving wasn't as hard for them. It took years, but Robyn finally got her man. What a joy! And let's be real for a second. When Kody lies about absolutely everything else, why would anyone take his word on this? He didn't deny it when asked outright, and when he talks about romance, he's probably just referring to the PDAs and the giddy feeling he gets with Robyn. Newsflash, Kody, that's not the same thing as actual sex. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and much love to you all.